And my first question for you is if you could just give a quick overview of your journey, what initially drew you to pediatrics, what keeps you passionate about working with kids.
Yeah, that's great. So my journey started when I was in PT school. I went to the University of Evansville. We had a professor that was just for pediatrics, and she was a world renowned pediatric therapist and did a lot of really good writing. Had written some of our textbooks, and she was very good at pediatrics. At that point, I was not into pediatrics because of how hard the class was, Mike. That was one of the harder classes. So the way
What
that
made
they
it so
did,
hard?
oh man, milestones and memorizing everything when it comes to that. And really, when you have a professor that wrote your textbook, sometimes it's
Yeah, that's
next
going to make it
level,
more
right?
difficult.
Yeah, it's next level. And it was really a very hard course. And she even opened, I believe, the first class is that less than two or three of you in this class of 23 is going to ever pick up pediatrics. And honestly, that's right, Mike.
Yeah.
That's really percentage wise, that's pretty close. So I wish I would have paid a little more attention during those classes. It would have made my life a lot easier now. But it wasn't my passion in school. Now, the people that were in my class that it was their passion are doing that still. And they love it. When I got out of school, I took the first job I could as an outpatient orthopedics. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the challenge that comes with that. But Mike, I'll be honest, I got burned out. Within my first two gigs that I had, I was thinking, how am I going to do this for the next 20, 30 years, right? How am I going to do this? How am I going to be happy? Because I feel like all I'm doing is just beating myself up. And there are certain jobs I've had throughout my cycle where if I put a fire out on Friday, I came back, that fire was lit again on Monday. And it just felt like
Exhausting.
I was never feel like I ever got ahead. And when I started the travel journey, which I did for 3 years and got to try other facets, I realized that there was a lot more that came with physical therapy and a lot more joy that could be found doing what I do and enjoying it, really. And I ended up landing after traveling. I stayed put for a little while. I did home health then. I worked at a skilled nursing facility after that, did some leadership roles, and then was a recruiter for a little while. And then coming off from being a recruiter, I went right into pediatrics. This is a very unique company that I work for now that we do home health and clinic-based pediatrics. And we do a very diverse population here in Colorado Springs. And what I enjoy about that is I got in on the entry level, even though being a therapist for as long as I have, I felt like I was starting over again, Mike. And I had to really dig in and get into that. But my career had led me to this point that where I would be ready. I don't think I was ready, a couple of years ago, but I am now. And I really enjoy it. And the passion that I have for this job is different than what it was when I first started, Mike. I really enjoy the clientele I see. I love seeing my kids grow. Honestly, they're growing and they're getting better, and we're working through so much. And I enjoy that part of this job, and because I enjoy going to work, which is what I was at a point in my career early on that I wasn't enjoying. It was a dread of like, what am I doing today? Like, do I have to do this today? So I don't feel that way anymore. There's a pride and just a sense of accomplishment that comes when you work in the pediatric population that just makes you happier. It makes you see that because we do work with things that are tough, Mike. We see that, and I always hope for everybody, every child that's born to have a fair shake in life. And sometimes that's not how that works. It's just so nice to be able to have us help them rehabilitate or adapt to what their environment's going to be, right? And that's part of our work as therapists is how can we help them adapt their environment or adapt their needs or rehabilitate them and be able to do all this.